Forget 4K gaming. 8K gaming is so passé. Let's go with 12K gaming. Alright, so the reality is that you're going to be upgrading into this particular setup. 12K gaming, it's just not a thing. No, at least not at this current time. Two 980 Ti's would have a hard time pushing this. This is completely insane. But you can run 1920 by 1080 scaled for these three monitors, and then from a productivity standpoint, work in 4K native resolution with no scaling across all three monitors. Now in terms of workspace, if you're a day trader, yes, I've been to the Chicago Board of Trade. I know what your setups are like. This absolutely destroys those kind of setups. For those of you guys not in the know, a lot of day traders and a lot of workplaces like the Chicago Board of Trade have these really elaborate multi-monitor setups where they'll have like 4 widescreen monitors in portrait and 2 widescreen monitors on top in landscape configuration, and it's like they've got to be able to see all the trades, they've got to be able to see all the stuff. So in terms of productivity and that sort of thing, those guys are wall-o monitor people too. So this is really easy. This is really simple. Modern graphics cards have 3 DisplayPort outputs. I got 3 DisplayPort displays behind me. I can do all this with one card. So yeah, all 3 of these are powered off of one Asus Strix 980 Ti. Now I'm not going to be gaming at the native resolution, obviously, but the 980 Ti has no problem gaming with each of these running 1920 by 1080. Now they're turned portrait, so it's really 1080 by 1920, so keep that in mind. In terms of the other particulars of this setup, I'm using Spaceco monitor arms for my crescent mount, but I don't actually have any clearance off of the desk. The Spaceco monitor arms are literally as high as they'll go, and it's not quite high enough. There are actually some accessories that Spaceco makes for the particular mounting solution that will give me about 4 to 6 more inches of lift, and so if you're going to do that, you're going to have to order all those accessories to do that. But the mounting solution will be crazy expensive. You would almost be better off getting a wall mount solution or something like that, but I really like the Spaceco Crescent for this kind of setup because, you know, it's sort of commercial office furniture. I was able to get a deal through some commercial channels, so neither here nor there. In terms of desktop screen real estate, because we're not using any scaling, this is set for 100%. You know, we're not talking 150% or 200% or anything like that. The pixel density here is about equivalent to 27-inch monitors, but the width is what's transformative. If you use portrait displays, like a 1080p portrait display, it really sucks when you're actually doing work because it's only 1080 pixels wide. If you're lucky enough to have some of the monitors that are 1200 pixels wide, 1920 by 1200, it was a popular resolution because it's a 16 by 10 aspect ratio a few years ago, but 1920 by 1080 has sort of become in vogue because that's the 16 by 9 aspect ratio. When you're using those in portrait for things like documents and web pages and things, they're just not quite wide enough. Well, with these, they're 2160p or 2160 pixels wide, and so that actually gives you a lot more screen real estate, and it's a lot more reasonable when you're going to be doing web pages and things like that. So in terms of a productivity configuration, you could actually run a configuration like this for programming and web development and reading documentation and day trading and whatever you might happen to be doing, and it actually works really well. Unlike 4K gaming not with 40-inch displays, there's no display scaling in this case, so you're taking full advantage of the full 4K resolution. Sometimes with smaller monitors, like if you're using a 27-inch 4K monitor, it's all, oh, look how sharp it is, all the fonts and stuff are very sharp, it's running at 4K, but you can't really see all the pixels. With this, you can see all the pixels. Ultimately, that won't be a good thing, but for right now, until Windows gets the display scaling right, it's a pretty good thing. Also, if you run Linux, you probably don't care too much about how the font looks, and in terms of this much screen real estate for the terminal, it's completely insane. So 12K for your daily computing, it really is a nice thing. My peripheral vision is completely filled. Like whatever's happening actually in the corners, I don't even see. It's just, you know, it's not even going to happen. Now I'm not going to keep this setup. I'm probably going to go back down to one 4K monitor because even I'm not that crazy. But I had these and I really wanted to see what would happen, and so I got a chance to do it and I put it together and I'm sort of blown away. So I had a chance to play some games and do some other stuff, and I just thought I'd share because I love you guys. And so if you are crazy enough to do this, you know, let me know. Take a picture of your setup. There's a whole forum thread on techsyndicate.com that's, you know, show us your battle stations. And there are quite a few multi-monitor setups. And I always like seeing those because, hey, more monitors the better. But this is crazy. I went from 5 monitors to this, and this is 14 million more pixels than my old setup where I had 2 portrait monitors, a 27-inch monitor, and 2 24-inch monitors on top. 14 million more pixels with this configuration. So I'd love to keep it. I might keep it someday, but for now, I'm gonna go back down to 1. Although I am gonna get in some more Rocket League and perhaps some GTA. Although with GTA, I'm not playing at the native resolution. But with Rocket League, I am, although the frame rates dip a little bit. But with Rocket League, I can play native on this with the 980 Ti. So that's something fun. I'm not gonna do any more game testing or anything like that because it's literally like having the display wired directly into my brain. The bezels are also nice and small on these Korean monitors, so it's not super distracting. Between the size of the bezel being relatively small and the size of the picture being insane, you really don't notice the bezels too much. And again, 2000 pixels wide versus 1080. So overall, this setup is completely insane. I have lost my mind. 12K gaming, you saw it first on techsyndicate.com. I'm Wendell, I'm signing out, and I'll see you in the forums.